I promise it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Thank you for having me for one. I'm Cardell Sims. I see a lot of familiar faces from school, court, lawyers. Honestly, people that I see, though you don't know it, you're a part of my journey. You're a part of my story. Just listening. I remember being in your courtroom a few times. But yeah, I'm Cardell Sims. Grew up here in Sedalia. Sedalia native, born and raised on the north side of Sedalia. What I currently do now, I have a company called Cardell Sims Enterprises, LLC, which I do reentry consulting for those incarcerated individuals. And I also have a nonprofit organization called the North Organization, which stands for Northside Organization Reinventing the Honor. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. So make sure you hear me. And so that's what I'm here to talk about today. Like I said, Cardell Sims. My company was formerly known as Visionary Hustle. I had to change it. COVID hit. We all know what happened in COVID. Some things changed, and so did my life. Actually changed for the better at that point on, even though I was doing right. So about my company, it's formerly known as Visionary Hustler. It changed in 2020 once COVID hit. I'm a reentry consultant, reentry strategist, a national speaker. They pay me to come in and speak in the federal prisons and other places as well. Six-time author. I've written 6 books, and I have On the Inside Reentry Academy, which is a program where I go inside of prisons and we talk about personal development. How I came about this was simply because I know that reentry starts on the inside of prison and of self, most definitely self. And then I also have a podcast called the Reentry Journey Podcast, where I highlight successful formerly incarcerated individuals who got out, changed their life around, and they're doing some amazing things in the business field, in the mentorship field as well. The formula. Now, I walked into a classroom one day, and on the board was this formula. I had no idea what the formula meant, what it stood for, nothing. It just looked strange to me. And I kept looking, IA and AA and A and IHP, and I just didn't understand it. And the teacher got up there and the teacher started breaking down what this formula meant. He said the IA stands for inherited or inborn attributes, things that you are born with, whether you get it from your parents, DNA, or this environment. Then he said the AA is acquired attributes, things that you acquire, attributes that you acquire in your journey of life. Then he said the A is attitude. And if you see in the formula, it says the IA plus the AA times the A equals your IHP. The IHP is individual human performance / potential. And when he broke that down to me, he said, but on the IA side, it's deeper than what you think. A lot of times we think about inherited, inborn, we're thinking about you might have got your height from your mother, or you might have got your hair color from your father and things of that nature. But it says it goes beyond that. It's your God-given talent. It's your God-given ability. It's the talent that God gave you. He said he gave you the right to reason, the right to think, the right to choose, the right to have an understanding. He said you just got to tap into that. And so along the journey, the things that you acquire because of the things that you were born with, the inborn attributes. You seek out them things from the way that you think, from the way that you would, the stuff that you're willing to do. And so from that point on, my life took a drastic change. I learned about vision boards and affirmations, and I applied these to my life. And how this really works is you have a boy and a girl born in the same neighborhood. And in this neighborhood, I'm gonna have to step away from the mic because I'm used to moving. But in this neighborhood, it's drug infested, crime ridden, poverty. You have the boy and the girl. They both grew up in this neighborhood. Best friends. They family know each other. Their grandmother's best friends. Matter of fact, the boy's grandmother every day for years straight used to get up at 10:30, walk across the street to the girl's grandmother's house, and they would watch soap operas. They did it for years. They used to watch the soaps. They used to watch the stories. That's what they called them. I'm going to go watch the stories. And these two, this boy and this girl, they was best friends. Their parents was on drugs. Their parents was going through what they was going through at the time, so their grandmother raised them. And they went all through high school. And the girl in high school, she knew at one point in time that she wanted to become a lawyer. So that's what she focused on in high school. The boy was involved in sports, But all his friends was dropping out of high school by the time he was in the 9th or 10th grade. So the boy was on that path. The boy ended up getting in trouble, ended up going to a foster home where he was in juvenile detention centers, and coaches came and spoke on his behalf because of his home environment. So instead of him going to a juvenile detention center, he ended up going to a foster home because he could play basketball. And so while they was in high school, the girl and the boy, they would go to school dances together, the prom and everything, and they graduated. The boy got a scholarship to play basketball. The girl got a scholarship, academic scholarship for the University of Missouri. The girl gets pregnant her first year in college. She gets pregnant. She didn't take that as her dreams was over with. She took that as a push to go ahead and get what she wanted. The boy, while in college, he had a great college basketball career, but what people didn't see, that he was selling drugs, he was still involved in that type of lifestyle while in college. So even though he did 4-year college, he ended up dropping out after his senior year of basketball and get full-fledged in the streets. So the girl ended up graduating college, same environment, same neighborhood, same circumstances. Over the next 20 years, the girl will go on, get her bachelor's degree, go to law school, end up starting her own law firm, doing a terrific job. Over the next 20 years for the boy, he ended up going to the Missouri Department of Correction at 22 years old, getting sentenced with a 19-year sentence. He goes into the Missouri Department of Corrections. On the wall, it says, leave all your dreams and hopes behind. That's what it says when he walked in there. And that's what he did. So over the next 20 years, that's what he did. He went in and out of prison. He'd get out, do right back to the same environment, selling drugs and everything. He goes right back to prison. He gets out, goes right back to the same neighborhood, same environment. He goes right back to prison. He gets out, go right back to the same neighborhood environment, and the federal government picks him up for another case. They pick him and 31 other people up for conspiracy and gang charges. And when he walked into the federal courtroom, they handed him a piece of paper. And he kept looking at this paper, and this paper had his name versus the United States of America. And the only thing he did was ask himself, why do he keep finding himself in these situations? And the only answer he came up with was, you keep putting yourself in these situations. So from that point on, the boy begins to study different things. He doesn't read the novels anymore. He started reading about knowledge of self, the seed of soul, business books, super rich, how to better himself. And then one day while in prison, he took this class. And when he walked into class, he seen this formula on the board. And from the time I seen that formula on the board in that prison class, I've been living my life off this formula. I built the vision board for myself while I was in prison, what I wanted my life to be like when I got out. And I stuck to that. I did every minute of the day when I was incarcerated and searching for a better way for myself. And I knew I had to change me before anything else would change. So when I was released from federal prison, I had 4 brown legal folders, that's all I had, and a family. When I got out, in them 4 brown legal folders was all the plans, all the goals, all the ideas, the vision board and everything. And I've been sticking to that ever since. And part of that vision was starting Visionary Hustle, which was the life coaching program. But in order for me to be a life coach, I knew I needed the education. So I joined a life coaching company. After 6 months, I graduated, got my life coaching degree, and I kept going to school because I wanted to be at the top. And I ended up becoming a Master Certified Empowerment Life Coach. Started taking speaking courses because I knew I wanted to share my story. I knew I wanted to share my journey. So I took speaking courses, and that's what I did. And so from that point on, that's what my life been since I walked out of prison. Cordell Sims Enterprises and the North Organization. Cordell Sims Enterprises, exactly what I said earlier, what we do is simply as this. You don't stop until you win. And when you win, you keep winning. No matter where you come from, no matter what your background is. I wrote the book, I Can, I Will, I Do, I Am. I wrote another book called Inmate to Inspiration. But most importantly, that book in the middle was On the Inside Reentry Guide. It's 4 ways to make a mindset shift while incarcerated. And these 4 ways I came up with my own. Assessing self-awareness, challenging your beliefs, prioritize what you value, and just simply raising and having expectations for self. Because in my previous life, even though you might have seen me on the basketball court, a lot of people who knew me from playing basketball probably expected for me to almost go to the NBA. But I didn't expect that for myself. Only thing I expected for myself during this time was to just play basketball and just have fun in life, what I felt like was fun in life. And what I felt like was fun in life ended up in me in prison. Now, how does the North organization play in this? So in my process and in my journey of being a speaker, I knew that I wanted to get back to the community that I helped destroy, the North Side community. If you was in Sedalia and you lived in Sedalia from the year 1998 all the way up to the year 2011, most likely any crime, any drug case, any drug bust that went on the north side of Sedalia, I was involved, or one of my friends or my buddy was involved. Any deaths, one of my, either a friend or somebody that we was into it with. That's just the God honest truth. I'm not here to play, I'm not here to lie to you all. Some of you all know my story. I played a part in every part. So when I had a different mindset, when I became this different person, my ultimate goal was to rebuild the community that I helped destroy. And as I say that, some of you might not understand. Well, I grew up in the north side of Sedalia. When I grew up, there was plenty of houses and businesses. It was a thriving community. I'm only 44 years old. Well, I'll be 44 in 2 more days, so I don't want to get an extra year yet. So I'm 43. So I'm 43 years old. And in that 43 year span, I've seen over 50, 60 houses tore down in Sedalia, nothing rebuilt back on them lots on the north side. Lots are still there. We can take a trip over there if you want to. They are still there. No businesses. We have 2 businesses. One business my whole time I've been there, Larry Newville Wash and Shine. Outside of that, you had a liquor store and you had a gas station. So within that confines, we weren't blessed to grow up with businesses that we can go to. We weren't blessed up to have a community center or none of that. So part of that was my ultimate plan, to rebuild and bring value to the north side community, because I knew and I understood every time I came out of my house and I didn't see that value, left me feeling that I had no other choice. If this was the life for me, this is what my life was going to be like. And that took me in and out of prison for 20 years. So the North Side organization, it stands for North Side Organization Reinventing the Honor. It's just simply reinventing the honor, bringing back the honor. There's a story. One day, my neighbor, he's older. He's out there digging. He's on the ground. He's digging. I'm talking about he's digging hard. I come out of my house. I'm about to go somewhere. I say, hey, what are you doing? He looks at me. He says, he looks up. He says, I'm planting a fruit tree. I said, you planting a fruit tree? Now, in my mind, I know because of his age, I don't think he's going to be here once this fruit tree gets done and comes into fruition. So I expressed it to him. I said, why are you planting a fruit tree? You might not be able to reap the benefits of the fruit. And he told me simply this. He said, that's what's wrong with you young people. He says, you're always looking at the now. He says, I own this property. I own this land. That means when I go, it goes down to my family. So even though I don't be able to enjoy this fruit, my grandchildren and great-grandchildren over the years, once it comes into fruition, will be able to enjoy the fruit of my labor. And then he told me this. He said, it's not about what you gather, it's about what you scatter. It'll tell you what kind of life that you have lived. And so from that point on, that's what I wanted to do with the North organization, was scatter hope. Scatter something to let these children and let those in the community know that even though you come from this community and it don't seem like there's nothing here, that you can always be somebody and come back and bring something here for the rest. Yo, you plant your fruit tree. And that's what the North organization is for me, my fruit tree. About the company, we was founded in 2019. We became official 501c3 well, me and my cousin founded in 2018. We didn't become official business until 2019. We end up getting our 501c3 in 2020. Everything that we do on the North organization comes from the community donations and us coming out our pockets. We don't get nothing else. So everything, every event that you've seen us do came from the people in the community donating, and those that's on my board and on our staff come out of our pocket. Some of the events that we do are our annual Easter egg hunt, which is our successful and most funnest events. We, again, get all donations from people in the community. We get all the eggs, what we have, 10,000 eggs this year. 7 to 8,000 eggs this year was our most. And you can't hide all them eggs, so we just put them out there, and we have different age groups, and they go out and they find the eggs. Some of the eggs got money in it. Some have raffle tickets where we do raffles. You get big baskets and everything like that. We also done our day in the park event, where we come out and we set up, it's a park event for children and families, a family event. We go, we get the dunk tank. The Reverend been in the dunk tank. I've been in the dunk tank. At the time, our mayor was in the dunk tank. Sheriff Brad Anders been in the dunk tank. And we just have events for the children. Here lately, since COVID hit, we did COVID drives. We partnered with Katie Trail and we did COVID drives for the community because a lot of people in the community don't have the access to go all the way out to the medical service, whether it's age or they just don't have no car. So we brought that opportunity to our community to where they can get their shots, they can get the mask, they can get the hand sanitizer, everything that they need so they can be safe and protect themselves during the COVID. And then what we're working on now, one of our biggest things we're doing now is Spark the Heart for Arts. We're looking to have a program where we're going to get children to have mentorships of people that's involved in the art, whether it's painting, whether it's drawing, whether it's dancing, acting, singing, just the arts. And we're looking to have a workshop. So every time we do our Day in the Park event, they would be able to showcase that talent. Our ultimate goal for the North organization is to build a North organization education/learning event center, a place where they can go to be able to learn, to be able to get mentored, and to be able to spend time and feel safe and grow at the same time and get that value. That's who I am. This is what I'm all about. If you know me, you know this is what I do all the time. It's either Cordell Sims Enterprises or it's the North organization because they both go hand in hand. I really appreciate you all giving me the opportunity to come to speak to you all, share my business, share my journey, share my story on what I've done and what I'm doing. What I'm currently doing now is I'm on a federal government speaking contract where they fly me into prisons around the United States. I've been to FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey. I've been to FCI Safford in Arizona. I've been to Minnesota, FCI Rochester, Minnesota. And everywhere I go, I share these same stories, these same journeys, because this is a part of who I am. This is a part of my history. And as I said before, some of you in here that are part of my history and you don't even know it. So once again, thank you all a lot for having me in, share my story, and I really appreciate it.
Anyway, anybody have any questions? I know a lot of you guys have a lot of history here, but anybody have any questions? Cordell, thanks again for, we got one.
Who's your favorite aunt?
That was a setup deal.
You were physically doing vision boards in prison. How well were they accepted by the other prisoners? I just picture that's gonna get torn up and exposed by this.
No, so what happened was I had my pictures of family cards and stuff like that. And when I joined that class and they changed, I said, I need to start painting. So I took all that down and I was going to the library. And I wasn't supposed to be doing this, but I was ripping out the pictures that I needed, I felt like, and out the magazines. Yeah, I had to make it happen. It was that serious to me. And when people used to come in my cell and see it, they was like, what is that? I'm like, this is what I'm going to be doing when I get out. And people was like, man, that I like that. Let me take on that. And some people took it and some people, if it bothered them, they ain't say nothing to me. But yeah, that was the main thing. But I started the culture with that because once I did it, other people started doing it.
Everett?
Started FBC now. Started a business itself.
Yes.
How did you help come out to get a job with records?
And so what I do now, like in the area of my programs in St. Joseph, Missouri. So I'm connected with all the business field, the Cup of Joe and stuff like that in St. Joseph. So I got a good system with business owners who's looking for help. So when I go, because I go on the inside of the prison and teach. So while I'm going in there, we're doing their assessments and we're getting their reentry plan together. And if they're coming in that area, then I'm already able to set up things where they can go get a job and everything that they need. They can go, they can get out and go right to that. No hesitation.
Are you a 501c3 and do you have cards?
Yes, I have a card. We are 501c3. We've been a 501c3 since May of 2020.
Ron?
Well, this honestly has nothing to do with their program, but I'm getting older and we're getting more all the time. Back when you were playing basketball, there was Whitey still coaching?
Yes, Coach White was my savior. Coach White, if I would have listened to what Coach White would have told me when Coach White was doing everything that he did for me, I would have never took that journey. But if there's one person that outside of my mother that had a firm belief on what my potential was and it knew before I did, it was Coach White.
Yes, it was.
It was, it really was.
Let's take that. Cardell,
All right, thank you.
all the best with your North Initiative and keep winning. Keep winning. We appreciate it. So Brian, thank you for bringing that program. I forgot to acknowledge Calvin joined us on Zoom. So Calvin, thank you for being here today. Our guest Tina, thank you. Nancy, thank you for being here. Carrie, Bishop Paul, thank you for being here. Okay. Next week, remember, we're next door. We'll have to figure out the logistics of the presentation for the Riley kids, but okay, so let's stand for our four-way test.
Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Have a great week, everyone. We're adjourned.